This might be a good time. Anybody got a question? How was the first question? Anybody want to ask me a question about anything pertaining to the playing of the trumpet, or when we're on the road? Do we like Wendy's better than Burger King, or anything? Yeah. You want to ask a trumpet question here? How many trumpet players we got here? Okay. Okay. Some of you look young enough, you got to have a question about something. Would you like to start? Yes, sir.
Pressure. Talk about pressure. Would you?
I'm sorry.
Pressure.
Pressure? Okay. Well, when we talk about pressure, I believe in working hard. How you doing? And I enjoy the physical approach to the instrument. I am not a fan of non-pressure because I've never heard anybody get what we call, in most of the work that I do, a sizzle while playing non-pressure, but I am totally amazed and will applaud anybody that when I see them playing non-pressure and doing the things that they do that way. I think it's fun to maybe back off now and then. I have to do that a little bit on purpose. You see, there's a thing called playing consciously, right? I don't like that. That means I'm really thinking about what I'm doing. It's like going back to when I said, pick a system that has the fewest rules, because you want to play unconsciously, right? Unconsciously doesn't mean you're going to sleep. It means you're free from all these robotic or non-robotic rules. You know, when Isaac Stern is really playing gloriously on his violin, I'm sure he's not thinking about exactly how he's holding the bow. And he's thinking about how beautiful he's playing that music, and in real truth, he's not thinking at all. He's just playing, you know. So that applies to pressure too, and because certainly we all get that physical message when we use too much pressure, you know, and you run out of gas, or you get a swollen lip or something. If you're breathing correctly, and you're putting air through this instrument correctly with the right amount of pressure, I know for me, if I'm going to miss tonight, unless I have the flu, unless, you know, whatever, but being in good shape and healthy and had a nice dinner, and as you get older, you discover that you can't eat a great big steak at 7:30 and hit at 8, you know, and because I used to be able to do that, you know. Now at 5 o'clock, I'm looking for a good restaurant that opens at 5, you know, and I eat a little lighter, you know, and that sort of stuff. So because and the warm-up helps a lot too, and because of course you're playing consciously when you're warming up, because you're checking yourself out. And one thing I do, and that's a good one, is of course the lip drills. And that's a monster problem for a lot of young players that it shouldn't be, by the way. And it's just going from one note to the other and back without changing your valves or your slide position for trombone players, right? The lip drill. But somehow a lot of us have made that into a real monster. You know, like suddenly I look at people that are learning to do it, and they're doing it wrong, and they look like they've entered the percussion section, you know, and the horn is moving, and I think of those poor lips, you know, the next morning, you know, and we all can get in trouble, and I know that when I'm not feeling well, which is rare, but we all have those moments, and the show must go on. We find out. We think we're really hip jazz musicians, but there's still a lot of vaudeville in us, you know, that says we got a sore lip, or I got a sore stomach, or I'm going to go out and do the gig anyway, you know. And right, Carl? Anyways, I think I've answered your question that you have to be your own teacher on the amount of pressure that works for you. You know, and just like the double pivot system that I use. I used to have a lead trumpet player when I lived in England and traveled Europe mostly in those days, and with a band. And my lead trumpet was great, and he played exactly the opposite. You know, the higher, I mean, when he'd go for the upper register, Donnelly, Jeff Donnelly, and I used to just go and look at him, and I'd just be amazed because, you know, so when I mention about 15 things that I advise you to do, just remember that if 3 of them work for you and help you, you're a big winner, because the next guy that comes up here and talks to you might be Bud Herseth from the Chicago Symphony, and he's a very strong player, incidentally. And but Bud will say a couple of things different from me, and that's good. And you'll figure out a couple of things different from the both of us. But I always remember, just like in baseball, with or any of the major sports, that without the basics, the other things won't come, no matter how tricky you get. You know.